My entitled neighbor is constantly stealing my packages, and anytime I approach her to try and get it back, she constantly denies ever having it. But justice and karma was on my side, as this time when she stole my package, she was shocked when she opened up the package and let loose a giant tarantula into her house. And as a result, she comes storming up to my house, begging me to get the giant spider out of her living room. And I've never felt better about exposing my thieving neighbor in my life. Here's what happened. I'm a 30-year-old female and I'm a hobbyist. So as such, I order additions to my collection that are delivered via post or courier. Now, my entitled neighbor who's 28 years old, she moved into her house roughly 3 months ago with her 9-year-old son. I was close friends with the people who lived there previously and had them listed as trusted neighbors to deliver packages to if I'm not home. Since she moved in, I have changed that with the postal services, but unfortunately, there are a few delivery people who have not had the information. Sadly, I have had a few parcels delivered to the entitled neighbor's house, and when I've gone to collect my parcels, she has denied knowledge or has given me an already open package and used the excuse that her son accidentally opened it. So last week, I had a delivery coming with several special additions to add to my collection, and I decided to work from home to make sure that I received the package. I started work at my usual time of 9 o'clock in the morning, and having double checked that my doorbell was set to its loudest setting, I went ahead and I got to work. Now, I have a tendency to get absorbed into my work, so by the time I realized that it was 12:30 p.m. and my package was supposed to have delivered by then, I started to worry. The first thing I did was check my emails to see if I had been notified of a delay. My heart sank when I saw the message saying my package had been delivered to my selected neighbor. So I left my house and went straight to my neighbor's house to knock on her door. When she opened the door, she gave me a look that said she was definitely not happy to see me. I looked at her and said, "Hi, I just got a notification that my package has been delivered here. Can I please have it back?" This entitled neighbor then looks at me and says, "There's nothing here." But I responded again and said, "I was just emailed by the courier service that they delivered it to your address. Can I please have it?" Now, at this point, the entitled neighbor was obviously getting pretty angry. She then said to me, "I just told you there is nothing here for you." Now, before I could even ask her again if I could please just have it, she literally slammed the door right in my face. I was obviously annoyed and decided to knock on her door again, and I waited, but she completely ignored me for at least 10 minutes. Feeling frustrated, I went back home and called the courier service, wanting the delivery person to come back and make sure I got my package. I was on hold for quite a while before I finally got through to somebody, and just as I was telling the service operator what was happening, my doorbell rang several times. Then there was repeatedly loud banging coming from my front door, followed by the bell again. I asked the operator to hold on for just a moment while I checked out who was at my door. I opened the door and my entitled neighbor was standing there. Her face was very red and her son was crying. My entitled neighbor then said something that honestly I kind of expected. She said to me, "There is a huge spider loose in my house because of you." Also, yes, I collect tarantulas. I collect true spiders and a lot of other inverts. Now, at first, I was scared that my neighbor had harmed one of my new tarantulas, but I just couldn't keep the sarcasm out of my voice. I said to her, "Oh, so you did get my package after all." My neighbor then starts shouting, "Yes, and now there's a huge spider in my living room. You need to get it out of my house right now." So I closed my door and I talked to the operator who had literally heard everything. Now, since I had already told them what was in the package, they were laughing down the phone. I told them I'd have to go to rescue my spider from the crazy Karen. So I grabbed my catch cup and paintbrush from my spider room and I opened my front door again. The entitled neighbor was still standing there looking furious, and her son was now completely sobbing. I look at them and I say, "Okay, show me where it is." The entitled neighbor then says, "I hate you so much." But I simply couldn't help but smile as my entitled neighbor took me into her house and showed me to her living room where my package was on her floor next to a knife that obviously been used to open it, as well as the container that the tarantula had been shipped in. Thankfully, the tarantula was simply hiding under her sofa, and I was able to get it come out with my handy paintbrush, and I caught it in the catch cup. I put it back into its shipping container, then picked up my package. The entitled Karen then said, "Finally, now get that thing out of my house. It terrified my son, and I'm arachnophobic. Don't you dare get any more of those things." And when she said that, I finally lost it. I said to her, "Excuse me? You're the one that opened a package of mine even after I came to collect it." Now, the entitled neighbor looked at me shocked. She said to me, "Yes, well, my son likes to open packages, and I thought it was another one of those gadgets that you get. He loves to play with them after all." Now, at this point, I just started laughing, as she obviously didn't realize that she just admitted to stealing my previous packages. Now, for some context, I work for a company that sends me product prototypes all the time. So I finally turned the conversation on her, and I said to her, "So you have been stealing from me. I swear if you ever open one of my packages again, I'm getting the police involved, and I'm having you charged with theft." Before she could say anything else, I pushed past her and I went back to my house. house. Thankfully, the tarantula was unharmed and was happily settled into her new enclosure. Since then, I've contacted every courier service in my area and demanded that they never leave anything at her address ever again. Now, there has been one incident where a package from work was delivered to her, but as soon as I knocked on her door, she just handed me the unopened box and closed the door right in my face, much to her son's disappointment if his yelling was anything to go by. So the moral of this story is don't open someone else's package, because you might just get a giant spider in your living room as a result. Yeah, that would be pretty good motivation for me to never touch my neighbor's package. If I knew they had some kind of like spider or tarantula in there, I honestly would never come anywhere near their package again. I am super afraid of spiders. They just freak me out. So if I took my neighbor's package, opened it, and found that sitting in a case, I'm pretty sure I would freak out and run out of my house. Like, there's no way I'm gonna face that. So honestly, good for you for getting your package back. And also, good for you for exposing the truth, because this neighbor was very clearly stealing from you. And that kind of behavior is absolutely unacceptable. If you like Am I the Jerk, you're probably going to love Am I the Genius. Check it out, link down below in the description. Also, go to amithejerk.com/submit if you would like to submit your own stories. My family refuses to allow my boyfriend to come over for Christmas and refuses to give me any kind of good reason why. And right now, I feel like my relationship is on the line and I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. Ever since I brought my boyfriend over to meet my family, my siblings have been super awful to him and have campaigned with my mom to exclude him from family events. My boyfriend and I have been together for 2 years. He hasn't been over for Easter and Thanksgiving, and I stayed home this year for Thanksgiving because my mom said that he was not invited. Last year, he wasn't invited for Christmas either, and when I went alone, he was very hurt by that, and it caused some division between us for a short while afterwards. My father, however, was very disappointed that my mom and siblings could not accept the fact that our family was growing and that it would inevitably grow. I can't explain why my siblings don't like my boyfriend. He is such a friendly person who has never said or done anything wrong to them. My brother has never been in a relationship or lived away from home, so I feel that he has some kind of weird attachment to my family and its traditions. This past Thanksgiving, my mom said that even though my boyfriend wasn't invited, despite the fact that my sister's boyfriend was, she promised that Christmas would be different and I would be able to have him over. So I went ahead and I invited him. Well, yesterday over a phone call, I was checking in to make sure he was coming home with me, and she admittedly told me no. I then reminded her that she promised that he could come over for Christmas, and on the verge of tears, she kept saying no, and that it would make my brother and sister very upset. I told her that I wouldn't be coming home, and she proceeded to yell at me over how I'd be ruining Christmas for everyone if I didn't show up. And now I'm in such a difficult position. If I go to my family for Christmas without my boyfriend, it would likely ruin our relationship because he was so hurt last year and he wouldn't feel included by my family. I would also have to uninvite him, which is extremely rude and frankly unloving. But if I stay with him for Christmas, it would conversely ruin my relationship with my family. As far as I know, an invitation was extended to my sister's boyfriend, but not mine. I don't understand why my mom and siblings can't accept my boyfriend as part of the family. I don't know how to negotiate with my mom to allow my boyfriend to come home with me. I spoke to my dad as well last night, and he said it's up to me to change her mind. And I don't know how to do that because she is such an obstinate lady, with my brother and sister unwaveringly immature about it. What should I do? Okay, this story blows my mind for several reasons. For starters, why is your sister's boyfriend allowed to show up, but somehow your boyfriend is not? Like, that is seriously such a case of double standards, it's not even funny. So it leads me to believe that somehow they just don't like you being in some kind of relationship or something like that. I mean, for context, you're 34 years old, so I'm willing to bet that this relationship is kind of a make or break moment for you. And personally, if I was in your shoes and I wanted this relationship to work out, I would personally make the decision to stay with your boyfriend. Because here's the thing, your boyfriend very easily could become your husband. Like, you could possibly marry this guy in the next few years, you never know. And in my opinion, setting up this kind of precedent where you're like, okay, well, you were invited, but now you're not. And by the way, I'm gonna spend time with my family for Christmas. Doing anything like that again for Christmas this year would be so insulting. And I mean, your mom even promised that he could come over. She literally told you, yeah, he can come over this year, only to then be like, sorry, can't do it. Your siblings are gonna be upset if he comes over to the house. Like, last I checked, this is your house, correct? Like, you get to decide who comes over and who doesn't, right? Why are these siblings, who are similar in age to the original poster, by the way, deciding that the original poster's boyfriend can't come over, but her sister's boyfriend can come over? Like, what's the difference here? Because in my opinion, there is no difference. Like, it really seems like the siblings off the bat were like, yeah, we don't like your boyfriend. And from the sounds of it, it doesn't even seem like they've given him a chance in any kind of way. Like, that's the part that bothers bothers me probably the most because he hasn't even done anything for them to justify this kind of behavior. It literally doesn't make sense, and this seems like a very intentional attack against you and your happiness. So in my opinion, if I was in your shoes, if they really want to deny your boyfriend from showing up on Christmas Day, then there is no way I'm gonna show up either. I would tell your mom straight up that the both of you are a package deal, and if your boyfriend can't be allowed to show up, then you're not gonna go either. Because the behavior of everybody involved in this situation is quite literally extremely immature, and it doesn't sound like they have a good reason in the slightest as to why they don't want your boyfriend coming over for Christmas. I lost my engagement ring at my friend's house, and she is now unwilling to let me look around her house just so I can find it. And now I'm so distraught, and I seriously don't know what to do. Here's what happened. So I met my friend in 2019 at a job that neither of us work at anymore. For the sake of the story, I'll call my friend Amy. Amy is not her real name. Now, Amy and I were instant friends. We did everything together. After we both left that job, our friendship definitely became much more distanced. We were still friends, we were just not hanging out every day. Every now and again, Amy would call me up to recruit me to help her with a party or some chore that she had to do. And you know what? I always jump to do it because I like her. I love helping my friends and being that person they can rely on when they need something done. This past October, I married my husband, and he would always mention that it seemed like Amy takes advantage of me, and he knows if I were to ever ask her to help out, I wouldn't get the same effort back. And he's probably right. Although Amy is kind, she is very scatterbrained and chaotic, and at times socially unaware. I know she has some issues, so I gave her a lot of slack. However, it got to the point where even my best friends would point this out. I did ask Amy for help with my bachelorette party with her helping decorate, as she owns a lot of party supplies and decor. However, she ended up showing up 2 hours late, and my two best friends ended up having to help me pull it all together. She was apologetic though, and even showed up with a lovely, thoughtful gift. This past week though, my perception of her has changed drastically. She said that she needed help painting her basement and bedroom. So I took off work and I came over to help out, as she had waited until the day before she would have new carpet put down. I spent nearly 12 hours helping her clean, move things around, and paint the walls. I didn't mind though, because I wanted to help, and it made me happy that she could rely on me. Now, I'm very careful with my rings, and I always zip them up in a pocket of my purse. And this time was no different. As we were working with paint, I decided to take them off and zip them up in my purse. I did not touch or open my purse again until the next day. So I woke up and I got my purse, and I went to put my rings back in their box where they stay when I'm not wearing them. And that's when I noticed that my engagement ring was not zipped up in the pocket with my wedding band. I emptied my purse and even cut the lining of it to see if it somehow magically slipped in it, but nothing. I couldn't find anything. I thought to myself, okay, maybe I did open it and I unzipped it and it fell out somehow. So I then searched my entire car, even taking out all the seats just to look for it. I called her a couple of times and got no response from her at all. I left her a message, figuring that she was sleeping as she was up late painting or something like that, and a few hours later she texted back saying that she had just woken up. She said the carpet layers were there and that she could not go in and check to find my ring. She did retrace the steps I took to my car but found nothing. I called her crying and begging her to look around and ask the workers. She did show them a picture and let them know to keep an eye out. However, I do not know the workers and therefore cannot trust their integrity. There was also another girl who was helping us, and I know her but not that well. But she has in the past admitted to some petty theft, and while it wasn't anything big, it basically made me realize that I can't trust her integrity either. Shortly after our call, I saw on her Snap story her and this other friend messing around most of the day. She said she looked all the places that she could and maybe it was in her desk. I then asked if I could come and look, and she said she was too tired and I could come look another time. She said her house was in chaos and it would need to be unpacked to be properly searched. I was very disheartened and I let her know I was very anxious to find it. I reached out several times over the course of 4 days and got very little response, and she showed a massive lack of concern. Meanwhile, this entire time, she's posting Snap stories of just hanging out with friends. Now, obviously, I don't expect to spend 24/7 looking for it. However, if it were me and she lost something, I would be very willing for her to come over and help search my house from top to bottom until we found it. After several days of little response or willingness to let me come look, I sent her a text telling her that she obviously did not care that I lost a prized possession, and she responded a day later saying that she does care, but again, she has little willingness to give me an actual update or to invite me over to her place, even though on her Snap she had several friends over helping her unpack. I do trust that she did not steal it, however, I don't trust her friend or the workers. I feel if it did somehow fall out, it was probably found and pocketed. started. I know for a fact I had it zipped in the pocket of my purse, and I did not even open it as my phone and keys were in my jacket pocket. It's been nearly a week and I still have very little news or any kind of update. She has said that she has been keeping an eye out, and I just feel after spending 12 hours cleaning and painting for her and all the other times that I've helped her out, I have not gotten a single shred of that effort in return. I debated giving her a piece of my mind, but I was holding out hope that she would somehow find it. Just knowing her though, she has likely not put in any effort to look, and her house is probably still in absolute chaos. And at this point, I've given up hope that she will even find it. Now, my husband was kind and understanding, and as a Christmas gift, he has ordered me an exact copy, and I'm very grateful for that. I just feel like this was her chance to show up for me, and I'm very disappointed, and my heart aches for this moment. I love her to pieces. She's hilarious, she's sweet, and she's really fun to be around. However, she is disorganized and a bit self-centered at times. I've been urged by my husband and friends several times to minimize all contact with her even before this incident. I know at the end of the day, it is my fault, as I should have double-checked my purse before leaving. I just have built the habit of zipping them up in the pocket. I feel like a total fool, and I've been kicking myself for losing it. I wish she would just allow me to come over and look. It's honestly been so frustrating. Do I hold out hope until she finds it? I am ready to cut ties, but I feel if she just found it, I feel much would be forgiven, but I just know that she won't. I mean, should I cut my losses and accept that she will never find it? And if so, should I just cut her off now instead of holding on to a silver lining of hope that my friend will show up for me for once? I really love her and I value her, and I would hate to lose her friendship over something like this. I mean, how should I approach my friendship or the loss of said friendship? What should I do? How on earth can you possibly view this person as your friend? This Amy lady has been using you since day one. Like, your husband and your friends are right. She does not care about you in the slightest, and she's been using you for free labor literally since the beginning. And here's the thing, maybe you just don't see it from your side of things, because you do like to help people out and be reliable for people around you. And in my opinion, I think that's a fantastic trait to have in your life. There's nothing wrong with being charitable and willing to help those around you, because I think the world would be a better place if more people were like you specifically. But here's the thing, it really seems like Amy keeps you around, or even contacts you in the first place, is because she views you as free labor. She doesn't see you as a friend. She sees you as someone who will do whatever she says, while doing it with a smile on your face for free. Like, you really should have listened to everybody else around you, because this situation that you're in right now, this was inevitable when it comes to Amy, because she will never show up for you. She uses people. She doesn't help people. She, of course, called you up so that you could come over and help her paint and move stuff and all this other garbage. And when you came to her saying, hey, I need your help for once in your life, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she's suddenly so busy. She is suddenly so busy that she can't even have you come over to her house just so you yourself can find your engagement ring, because her life is so chaotic right now. She's unpacking stuff and it's just utter chaos over here, which, by the way, is just another lie, because she's literally going on Snapchat and posting all these stories, basically proving that she's not only not looking for your ring, or she knows where it's at and she probably already sold it. Because maybe you don't want to hear it, but the real reason that she does not want you coming over to her house is because she probably has your ring and she most likely is trying to find some way to sell it. Like, that, in my opinion, based on everything you've described, that is exactly what I think is happening. It's either that or you really did drop it and one of her friends found it and they're the one that's selling it. Because you have it right. If Amy for some reason decided to come over and help you paint your house, and then she called you up and said, oh my gosh, my ring is missing, you would let her over in a heartbeat and you would start the biggest search party on planet Earth. Like, I'm convinced that you would do everything it would take to make sure she got her ring back. And that in and of itself doesn't prove that you're a good person and that you like to help people out. If anything, it would prove to me that you didn't steal the ring. So the fact that she's not willing to put the effort in to find your ring, or just to let you come over and take a look just so you can have some kind of peace of mind, that, in my opinion, is a clear sign that Amy's playing you, and she most likely played a role in your ring going missing. So in my opinion, I think it's time to cut Amy out of your life, because she 100% does not care about you, and I think you would be a complete fool if you tried to keep this friendship going. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist at the top of the description. And if you want some chill music to put on in the background, check out Easy Mode. If you like Am I the Jerk, subscribe to Am I the Genius. Everything will be linked down below in the description.